In the last few years, the digital currency Bitcoin has exploded in value. One Bitcoin is now worth as much as $4,000 or $5,000. That means people who have a lot of it, when they pass on, are in position to leave their family large fortunes of it. But there's a catch. You have to find it. Bitcoin is invisible, kept in wallets on the internet, which poses a big challenge for people trying to find these Bitcoin fortunes. As an example, an individual in Colorado passed away recently. His family didn't know that he had Bitcoin. Might have been a fair amount of it. Turns out he had 2 accounts. He'd been buying it for years without telling them. The family only found out because when going through his bank statements, they saw a bunch of monthly deductions to a couple of these companies. That let them know for the first time that their loved one was a Bitcoin buyer. To understand how to pass on your Bitcoin, you have to understand, of course, how Bitcoin works in the first place. There's 2 ways people might go about owning Bitcoin. One is to keep it in a private wallet all to themselves, and they control something called a private key. That's a long series of numbers, like 70 digits, a real secret code. They have to make sure if they leave this world, their family knows where that key is. You can do this by writing it down on a piece of paper. That's a risk though, someone might throw it out. You can maybe even put it in your will. Or other thing people do is you put that key on a USB flash drive and that will store it for you. Private keys are a tricky thing. That's why not everyone uses them. More and more people are using something else. They're relying on a third-party service. There's these exchanges, 2 big ones in San Francisco, for instance, Coinbase and Kraken, where people store their Bitcoin. These are like banks, and they take care of the private key for the customer. That means that when they pass on, the family can go to these exchanges or these custodians and ask for access to the Bitcoin. You better tell people it's there. If not, unlike a bank, these companies aren't going to come out and tell your executor, hey, we have some Bitcoin here. It's just going to sit there, and once again, it could disappear. It's easy to think of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as this weird thing that won't touch your life. But the fact I'm standing here now explaining on how Bitcoin can go into a will and how executors will have to find it shows how this technology has become a mainstream thing. It's giving rise to new type of fortunes. People have to take steps to ensure those fortunes aren't lost forever when they go.